Hello, it's Elfrida. I haven't recorded a video in quite a while. I've been busy doing a master's in applied positive psychology and coaching psychology, and so my blog posts and video logs have been put on hold for a little while. But at the moment I'm recording video log coaching sessions, and since I had the camera already set up, I thought I'd do a little recording today. So the thing I wanted to talk to you today about is something called the Mental Health Continuum. And I think it's a useful thing for people to be aware of when it comes to their well-being. And so the Mental Health Continuum is a scale that goes from -10 to +10 that defines where we fall in relation to our mental health or mental well-being. So people who would fall in the spectrum of -10 would be people who would be classed as having a pathology or would be considered to have a mental health illness such as clinical depression or bipolar disorder or something in that frame. People who fall into 0 are people who are mentally well or mentally functioning. And so when we go to +10, we're looking at the realm of high levels of well-being, high functioning and thriving. And so a lot of the research tells us that most people actually fall into the functioning, mentally functioning, where they're neither, ill or not ill. They're doing okay. And so about 72% of the population would fall into that category. And then the percentage of people who would be classed as thriving, who are functioning at a high level, that means they're achieving goals, they're working towards their personal development, if they're working in an area that they're happy in, they have positive relationships, they have a sense of achievement and accomplishment in their life, and their life has meaning and purpose. About 7% of the population fall into that category, which is quite a small number. And the remainder actually falls into the mentally unwell, although, however, a large portion of that falls into what's considered languishing. So people who fall between -10 and 0 would be considered as languishing. So in that case, some people are neither ill nor not ill in the sense of that they're not don't have a pathology. However, they're not functioning at a high level of well-being. And that's where we have things like chronic stress, people who have high levels of anxiety, people who do experience depression, but are not perhaps on the lower end of the spectrum where they're at a danger to themselves or a danger to other people. But very often they're not really achieving in a positive way. And so when you look at what help is out there and who works with people in these categories, people who would have a pathology or who would have a diagnosable mental illness would actually work usually with psychiatrists and psychologists and therapists. And so that would be people who fall from -10, should I say, to a -7. And then from -7 to +10 is the realm of coaching. So most coaches, like myself, would work with people who are -7 to 0 and from 0 to +10. And so these are people who are maybe experiencing levels of stress or experiencing levels of anxiety, but are actually in a place where they're able to maybe feel they can do something about it, or they're starting to look towards recovery or feeling better. And the people who are from the 0 to +10 are people who are actually mentally functioning well, but feel that there's something more they want to get out of their life. So it can be people who are experiencing maybe exam stress, because you can actually be thriving and have some negative mental health problems, because sometimes these can be actually acute problems as opposed to chronic. And so you can suddenly experience higher levels of stress or anxiety or even depression because of a major life event or a major trauma in your life, which then causes you to need maybe help to get back on track. A lot of coaches work with people to help them get back on track, and also working with people to help them to achieve their goals. And I suppose the difference between when working in the lower ends of the scale, when psychologists work with people, they're working with people to help them get better because the assumption is there's something wrong. When you're working in the area of coaching, the area is that the assumption that people have all the resources that they need within them. They just need the support and the help to be able to find those resources and to be able to work towards improving and getting where they want to be. And so the aim of coaching is to get people into the realm of thriving. And obviously we would all like to thrive. And so thriving falls into the areas of well-being that look at positive emotions and experience high levels of positive emotions in your life. Doesn't mean you don't experience high levels of positive emotions, or low emotions, should I say, but you experience positive emotions more of the time. It also helps people to improve their well-being when it comes to their relationships, to feeling they have a purpose or something that's worthwhile in their life, that they're accomplishing things, and they feel engaged and fully present. And that's why things like mindfulness fall into the areas of well-being and positive psychology. And in the area of positive psychology specifically, there are lots of specific interventions that would be used to help people to improve their well-being. And you can do lots of tests and measures to actually see what that's like. A great website for that, if anybody's interested in testing their own well-being or looking at some of the interventions, is Martin Seligman's website, the Authentic Happiness website, which is part of the Pennsylvania University website. And if you just Google Authentic Happiness, you'll find it. So I hope you find that a little bit useful. Have a think about where you maybe fall on that spectrum. And always remember that, if you are struggling or if you are having a difficulty, the most effective thing you can do is reach out for help. And obviously that may be to work with a counsellor or a therapist, or it may be, I'm biased, maybe to work with a coach. But once you do, you realise that you have much more capacity and resources within you to actually make positive changes in your life. So thanks for watching today. I look forward to seeing you again. I hope our paths cross again in future.